Welcome to this third class presentations using artificial intelligence. We are going to talk, discuss, and share some interactive gamified lessons and a complete tool for basic education, high school, and university teachers. So first, in order to start with this topic, we need to emphasize the real purpose of the integration of artificial intelligence as a teacher, as an English teacher. We have advantages and disadvantages. First, it saves us time because, as we saw from yesterday from Magic School, we can have automated lesson planning, rubrics, and grading workflows, or spaces to work collaboratively with other co-workers and between students. We can also have immediate adaptation feedback, text adaptation with different levels of difficulty and formats for diverse learners, which from previous years and decades, it was quite hard and impossible to do it using ICT tools and artificial intelligence. We can have more engaging, interactive, multimodal materials that grab students' attention. And we can have 24/7 creative ideas. However, we have some limitations. That artificial intelligence lacks human empathy and it requires a particular prompt because we don't have a universal prompt. We need a lot of prompts to have a detail for giving accurate assessment for different skills, to promote critical thinking, or to be aware of student well-being. So, what are your thoughts when you look at this image? Do you agree or disagree with this idea? Are you still more confident or not to integrate artificial intelligence in your classes as a self-assessment? Check or X. How is your level of confidence? Save time, self-efficacy, adaptation of materials. What do I still need more to practice? Maybe the prompts. As a self-assessment checklist. How is my level of using artificial intelligence in my level of self-confidence? Engineering prompting. Self-efficacy. Planning. Resources. Gamification. Adaptability. Flexibility. And personalized learning. This is a first question for all of you. Self-reflection circle. How is my level of using AI? In my level of confidence? Check or X. Engineering prompting, self-efficacy, planning, resources, gamification, adaptability, flexibility, personalized learning, DUA prompting, inclusive education purposes. Okay. Who wants to participate? The same, raise your hand and share an eye experience. We'll start with this eye presentation tool. We are going to start with ChatGPT. What are the pros, the cons, and the practical uses for all of your levels that we can use ChatGPT? The advantage is that it's one of the most versatile AI tools that we have now in the market for free. We have the best generation of fast lessons and detailed rubrics, more than Gemini, Copilot, Magic School, okay? And the disadvantage, especially when we design a planning or presentation, it requires a logical prompt in order to avoid illogical pedagogical sequences. So, what is the step? What is the prompt that I need to emphasize? First, role. Second, input, topic, CEFR level, and specify the format for the eye presentation. So let's log in ChatGPT, and then let's define a role. This is the prompt for ChatGPT to create eye presentations. So first, the role. Second, the input, the topic. It can be, for example, present perfect, the CEFR level, plus the format of the presentation of the content I want. For example, for basic education, generate simple phonics word lists and matching games. What we are missing? The role, we have the topic, we are missing the level, and we need to emphasize the type of information that I want. Do I want with colors in a particular game format? Do I prefer to use it in Word, slides, PowerPoint? Do I only want the design? Then we are going to check. Then we have high school create engaging debate role-play scripts and counter arguments. If I want to emphasize that in a presentation, the same. What do I need to do? Define the role plus input plus format. Higher education, design complex analytical rubrics, academic reading prompts, role, input, format. So let's start with ChatGPT. So please log in ChatGPT and let's validate, assess, and redesign the prompt. Okay. When you are in ChatGPT, let me know. Okay. So what was the prompt? It was the role, the input, and the format for basic education, phonics, word lists, and matching games. And the verb that we have, generate. Generate, and we also have the information here. Create an image, investigation, search, OpenAI, GitHub, Canva. In this case, I can choose an image in order to integrate for Canva. We only need to connect both. Generate an presentation design format for phonics and matching using a colorful slide with a number of 5 slides for 6th grade and A1 students with a lack of knowledge and vocabulary. This presentation is for kids, so generate it engaging, colorful, nice, video game based to design in Canva or here. Okay, so I created a 5-slide PowerPoint design as a colorful game-inspired starter presentation for 6th grade A1 learners with limited English vocabulary. What does this presentation include? Phonics adventure, introduction, match the letter recognition, beginning sounds, match words to letters, game time, interactive phonics challenge, great job, review and celebration. However, we also have the recommendation of ChatGPT for 20 fully animated slides. The kids now love Minecraft and also adults, young adults, teenagers from high school and higher university students, undergraduate and postgraduate, including myself. I studied my doctorate. I love Mario Bros, Minecraft, Roblox, Pokemon game theme. We also can have these suggestions. We have embed phonics audio to include. We also have recommendations from YouTube phonics videos. We have lots of interesting and very nice recommendations that we have here. We have cartoon illustrations. Imagine that. Drag and drop, matching activities, gamification with points, badges, and rewards, and Canva premium style design with modern fonts and icons. Imagine that. So we have, based on the prompt, we can have a variety. This version will be classroom ready and much more visually engaging for young A1 learners. Imagine, we have both. We have this presentation that I am going to click because we have 2 types of presentation here that are included. So I am curious about what is the different type of presentation. Imagine that. So here we can extend incomplete screen and imagine that. Let's learn sounds. Collect stars by matching letters and pictures. Say the sound aloud. Match the letter. Beginning sounds. Which sound collect the stars? And we have great job. So as in this case, we need to emphasize, I am going to share the same. We have here the complete PDF that I am also going to share. Can we adapt the number of slides? Yes. Can we adapt the theme? Of course. Can we adapt the content, the patches, the topic itself? Yes. Can we have in another type of format? Yes. Can we have in Word? Of course. So I am going to share the slide. So you can see how it works. Okay. So you have the complete version also included in the slide. What about if I want to have gamification with points, badges, and rewards, or 20 fully animated slides? This is the first limitation that we have. Why? Because in the free plan, it's not possible to have ChatGPT with animation. If I want to do this part, I need to change to Gemini Notebook, LM, or Canva. Okay, so this is the first limitation that we have in a free app, and the most common one for ChatGPT. As you can see from before, look, that I have reached the limited data analysis. So I need to change the plan for a new one. Why? Because this requires more, and after all, this is business, okay? So if I want to change, I have to switch the account and I have to go on with another one. What else can I have after this part? I can have the redesign without the downloadable presentation, okay? Create engaging debate, role-based scripts, and counter arguments. For now, it's impossible to use the same account, so it's not possible to continue with the presentation, but I can have the design of a role-play presentation. Although it's not possible to download a document, Word, PowerPoint, I can have the design and change to a different website. For example, I have here used expressions, vocabulary, the role play, but I can have this in a slide. I can access in a different website, but this is one of the most common limitations for ChatGPT. I can also have the design for Canva, artificial intelligence design. I can have it. So I copy and paste and I can include in a Canva design. Design complex analytical rubrics and academic reading problems. The same. Design an AI presentation for Canva about reading analysis in higher education. The previous one was using for high school level. Okay, so I have the design, I have a format, the fonts, the Canva elements that I can use, the type of animations that I can include, and I have the slides. In those slides, the same, I can copy and paste in Canva and I can create those ones. Okay. Can I reduce the number of slides? Yes. Can I reduce until number 1 slide? Of course. The last part that is also important from ChatGPT, we have the recommendation. In the recommendation, if I don't want to type or I don't know how to create a presentation itself, I can change. I can include only this part in my Canva presentation. Gemini, Notebook Element, that we are going to see later. What is the difference of using Copilot versus Gemini? Which one is better or not? One of the advantages from Monday of using Copilot is that you can add a document itself with an extended free limited account without a particular price for uploading it. The disadvantage is that Copilot, according to previous studies of a top 5 artificial intelligence tools, the easiest one to use is ChatGPT, but Copilot is included in the list of due to Copilot's interface that is quite hard to start as a beginner, that we could also appreciate, especially with teachers who couldn't realize and identify the Copilot link easily. So it contrasts with the studies about artificial intelligence use. So the steps to create for Copilot, we can identify and have more information about age appropriate, the source, the type of prompts. We can have this idea. However, in Gemini, the most important disadvantage is that there are occasional factual inaccuracies that you need to self-check during the presentations. There are some slides that cannot be included, and it's really hard to re-edit, redesign, that I am going to share too. At the end, for Gemini, we have images by, instead of making a particular citation reference. That is one of the most common disadvantages, that we need to recheck, reread, reanalyze if the content, according to the particular prompt, it is useful or not. What is the difference of generate fast story variations instantly and find age-appropriate real-time web articles? That according to each artificial tool, it requires a particular prompt to identify the specific content. For example, with the content that we have in Copilot, age-appropriate, real-time, events, essays, literacy, it's more academic and scientific than to emphasize in Gemini. So according to previous studies, the majority of students and teachers use more Gemini in a general subjective way to generate general stories, to promote critical thinking, and for summarizing purposes. However, the less number of people who use Copilot is because they prefer more detailed information that they don't easily find in Gemini, ChatGPT, and Notebook. What is the difference using Magic School? First, Magic School is a 100% teacher-focused assessment and differentiation. As we could see from yesterday, there are lots of tools to use that are required a training, a previous training. The pros is because the tools are all pre-built, pre-designed, we only need to specify the template and it's ready to use. The disadvantage, sadly, we need to do this process manually and sometimes it can be level tweaking. The limitation, as was one question from yesterday, is the restriction access to premium tools. So the redesign of some templates as worksheets are restricted for premium. The same, we need to select the tool that we are going to see. In this case, we are going to use content generator. Input the topic and generate. The recommendations to use to create an artificial intelligence presentation using Magic School is first to use the verb use, create, or generate, because those verbs are more common in Magic School. Use, create, generate. Use, create, and generate. What is the difference? When I say use, it's because I want to install and to implement a tool that is pre-designed in Magic School. If I want to create, I need to emphasize which tool and I want from 0. So we are going to do this part based on the information from ChatGPT and the 16 slides that we have. We are going to have these two perspectives. Using chat with Raina to emphasize a particular presentation, and with the presentation tool generator that is in Magic School. Okay, so let's log in. Let's log in Magic School. Let's search all tools, or we can search instantly presentation generator. Generate exportable slides based on a topic, text, YouTube video, or any uploaded content. And we have also academic content. Generate custom academic content based on the criteria of your choice. But as we have the content, we are going to start directly with presentation generator. I am going to choose now the level of university. I'm going to choose the number of slides because our university students, I am going to use 20. I am going to copy and paste all the information that I have in ChatGPT. The additional criteria, I can emphasize a particular criteria that I prefer. I can use the institutional's format sample. I can include, for example, when I want to emphasize the particular research, or for a presentation, if I am a speaker, if I want to share my research and so on, I can add the file here. A particular criteria that I am going to emphasize, in my case, remember, I have a student who doesn't distinguish between red and blue colors. Emphasize in a scientific format for undergraduate learners of the Faculty of Medicine, for example. Medicine on a particular institution. And the colors of the university are red and white. They can add any type of particular indicator as I prefer. It doesn't matter. Remember that we have 16 slides that we copy and paste from ChatGPT. This is the sequence that I am going to share so you can have an adaptation and extended idea of the information that we have for, in this case, that I chose for university students. Remember that ChatGPT shares us 16 slides, so it's quite extend and long to have this. As you can see, Magic School requires time also to read what the artificial intelligence tool from ChatGPT is doing. Imagine that. Then with this same information, we are going to have the variation for Gamma and Canva artificial intelligence presentation. And Notebook, we are going to have both, okay? As you can see, we have here a limitation to continue reading from Magic School. We need to wait because this app requires more time than ChatGPT. So the purpose of this workshop is to emphasize until what point each artificial intelligence tool is useful, practical, is free, useful, free, practical for us as teachers. At the end of the video, as part of the portfolio, you have to share a short reflection of the analysis of the tools that were shown and the most practical one. At the end of the video, for your portfolio, you have to share the most practical tool. For example, then we have more than 1 minute to share. So we need to wait. You can see we have here a strong limitation from Magic School. But as in ChatGPT, we don't have here a process to stop it. So this is an important, remarkable insight that you need for emphasizing that Magic School, we have a limited brainstorming ideas for presentations. Canva AI. Actually, I really love this tool, not only for presentations, but also for designing and implementing games using the same presentations that we are going to share. with the information for a microcurricular planning using present perfect. But as every good app, it has also its limitation. That we have a restriction also in the free version. But if you have at least 2 classes, you can create once the same day and you have between the same, according to the prompt that you have. You can have from 5 to 20 slides at the same time. The steps the same: open Canvas, Magic Write, and Generate. For basic education, create colorful vocabulary flashcards. For high school, design engaging grammar presentation templates. Or for higher education, build infographic courses. Imagine that. Okay, so we are going to see. First, let's assess the tool, and we are going to see. Imagine that. Now we have the first restriction for Magic School. I have 75% of weekly limited use. Why? Because I am in a free version plan. So I have more 5 free messages left. Limit reserves on Saturday at 7 p.m. with this account that I have, gmail.com. Please be aware of this information because it's necessary. And let's pay attention that now we don't have 16 slides. We have 16 slides in ChatGPT. Imagine that. We have the same slides? No. That's why it took more time for Magic School. We have from ChatGPT 16 slides with extra information for and the thank you, with extra background and extra features. Okay, so now I am going to copy and paste to see the restrictions for Canva. Yeah. So now let's log in Canva Artificial Intelligence. Okay. We have some useful components too. This was I am going to share here the games that I also have for. This was the first presentation that I shared. It was for a game-based presentation. There are also good and interesting ideas that we have here that it also can be replied. Okay. We can have in format for notebook. We can have we can have adverbs, ads for us. We can have portfolio. We can have infographic. We can have digital notebook template. We can record ourselves doing Canva. We can have collaborative work too. For example, I am going to share first this presentation that I share for the group. Okay. So this is the presentation that I have for the group. It was video games based that I am going to share the prompts the same. Okay. This is a useful resource that you can use for a first presentation with the students. Okay. What do I expect from artificial intelligence? That was the question that I shared. And the experience, your journey using artificial intelligence. And the final doubts. Okay, so you can have this idea here to emphasize a particular game style. You can also have games, you can also have in different colors. This is also another game that I share with my teens. This is a particular game for teenagers, but you can also emphasize for students of different ages. Why? Because English as soccer is a universal language for playing. Okay, so this was a presentation for to practice to remember simple present versus present continuous. I click here in the green one. Sorry. This is a format for escape room. We have here the information, and this is the process of the escape room, which I really love to use in my case. The students have to complete, in order to pass, they have to complete with the information. The same, this is the room one, this is the second room that you have to complete the sentences. And this is room number 3 that you have the activity wall to emphasize, the room 4, the commentary box in this case, and the room 5 to complete with the verbs as a final challenge. Then you have to create the code so the students have a congratulation standard. Okay, so there are different games that we can use using Canva AI artificial intelligence. This is a presentation for my second master's, and the purpose of this presentation is to emphasize that we can record our voices, and we can also include that presentation to include with our students.
Hello everybody, my name is Franklin and today I will present my analysis of the error theoretical interpretation of a narrative essay written by.
Okay, continue with the next part. We have the learner corpus analysis. I analyzed the task about a student that is 19 years old, is Ecuadorian female.
So we can also, the students be part of this interaction. We can also have a notebook presentation. But now we are going to check with the bottom of Canva IA. So log in Canva and check the bottom for Canva IA. In this part it says, for example, here, when you create ones, you are going to have here a particular designs that you have done before. So in this case, we also have in this section to integrate, to upload, to include a particular content, designs, my own files. From a previous presentation, the same, we can include, and for premium, if I want the premium version. Okay, but this is not my case. First, I am going to make the example from the information that I have from ChatGPT to Magic School to Canva IA. I have to put diseñar, presentation, public, the style. As I am a very serious person, I prefer a digital style and the extension. The extension in my case, I prefer to decide. It depends on you. And first, I am going to share how this information from ChatGPT to the last information from the same information for both ChatGPT and Magic School, we are going to have the information in its natural way, how the artificial intelligence shares. It says, I am going to create a presentation based on the parameters that I say about style and structure. So let's see. Okay, so now I have the information, and remember that I share that Canva IA shares and decides how I am going to use the information. Okay, so this is the final information that I have. I am going to put generate a design so we can emphasize the design until the interaction to include gamification and storytelling. Okay, I am going to generate a presentation. It says that in my case, as a limitation, that I reach the monthly capacity of artificial intelligence in my plan. So I am not going to generate until September 1. Imagine that. So in my case, what I have to do for this purpose is to clean a different account. That is also one of the limitations here, but nothing else that we can delete using a second account. As you can see with the next login, I have immediately a test for 7 days, but it's not going to be my case because this is only a demonstrative presentation of the uses that I have. Okay. And as you can see here, I also have some recommendations or some templates to use. But as I don't want a recommendation, I prefer to use immediately Canva ER. The same, so I am going to continue with design, presentation, the style that it was before, digital, design for me, and I click the same information that I have from Magic School. Okay, so now we are going to wait to see what is the result with another account with a free limited version. Okay, as you can see, there is the exact information that I have. Then I have the extension, I have the style, I can share digital style, I can do regenerate if I want to emphasize a particular information. I can edit the pages, I can click to share the order in a different order, or I can delete the same. In my case, I am totally fine with that information, so I click, I accept the design. I'm going to generate a complete presentation based on the futuristic design that I chose and based on the university colors from the first outline. I have to wait, and then if I want to change it on interactive game, I can, depending on the number of credits that I have in my free sample. Okay, so imagine this one. It generates the presentation based on 20 slides that we have. These slides, remember that these slides we have from ChatGPT to Magic School. Okay, we are missing Gemini and Notebook Element and Gamma to see which artificial tool has the best presentation eye according to my students. So let's see. Okay, so let's see in presentation. Okay. Imagine this one for higher education. I realize that it is a good slide, but it can be better. This is the second slide. Mm, It is quite interesting. Okay, this information shares from the 20 slides that I have from ChatGPT to Magic School to Canva IA. Okay. This presentation is quite formal for a speech, as you can see. But what about if I want to start, in this case, for a game design simulation for medicine students? Okay, so let's try. What will be the prompt? Change to a game simulation interaction using for hospitals in a hospital escape room for bilingual doctors with level and include reading, listening, writing, speaking, grammar, and vocabulary. I hope that I have more than the free limited version to include that actually. So the first interactive game is using escape room. And you can see the difference that we can have from this Canva IA design. Okay. Create the simulation. Create the simulation game to play. As you can see, the first limitation for Canva IA is that the majority of resources are not well reread. It says algo no salió bien, déjame intentar con un enfoque diferente. Okay? It can be, as you can see, it reduces directly. Okay, now I am confident and I just say create a presentation. We need to wait because it takes time to create the design. Okay, so now let's see how the game presentation was. Okay, hospital escape room. Interactive medical English game simulation for bilingual doctors, B2 level, and it also has the date. Imagine that. That is quite interesting. Okay. After the presentation is going to be your turn based on a macrocurricular planning for present perfect. So you can include escape room activity, an interactive vocabulary flashcard, and an image. But as we are also doing the activity, we need to take time for them. Okay, so let's put only presentation and let's play. Imagine that. It has also quite really nice visuals. Okay, wow. Enhance medical English skills across reading, listening, writing, speaking, grammar, and vocabulary. Practice real-world hospital communication scenarios. Collaborate effectively and apply clinical language under time pressure. We have 8 challenge rooms. The bonus for grammar and the total between 3 to 5 doctors. These are the rules because remember that the format for escape room, we have a particular rule. So this is the first part. It says, read the patient chart, which diagnosis best matches the findings. We have room 2. We have graded concise. In this case, for an adaptation for university students. We have speaking skills. We can also adapt and integrate different content. You only need to emphasize the type of content that you want to use. This information belongs to the information from ChatGPT to Magic School to Canva IA. We have also tips for success, safety and technical guidelines, reading room. We have speaking for particular situations, especially with university students, we can adapt for kids and teens for specific purposes too. Okay. Now we have also an interactive way for saying thank you. Okay. Quit a prompt used by now. Okay. So, what are some gamified learning platforms? We have Kahoot AI, we have Quizzes AI, we have Looker Wordwall. In this case, the disadvantages that sometimes children feel distracted with Kahoot. Quizzes it's only for one device. Looker for Wordwall, heavy focus on lag speed. Visual storytelling for artificial intelligence. We have Books, Creator, Pixton, and Adobe Express. The cons is time consuming to set up student accounts. In this case, we are going to emphasize first in Blooket, Kahoot AI, and Book Creator. Okay. In this case, you can join a game or you just can sign up. In my case, as I don't have an account, I have to create an account. I'm going to share for the link. Okay. So now I am in booklet. I can create a set or discover sets as you prefer. In my case, I am going to discover first sets. And I am going to choose the unit rate. Okay. So you have here, in my case, I am going to choose languages. Now I am going to choose for school vocabulary. Okay, I have here this in French, and I can assign or play solo too. So I want to use it the same. I want to use to play solo. Okay. Now I am going to use a book creator. In my case, I have an account for book creator. I hope that I remember my credentials. Okay, this is account for a student. As I am not a student, I have to log in again to share the account as a teacher. Okay. This is an interactive platform to create content presentation using digital version. Okay. I am going to share this special app to create vocabulary flashcards that we are going to use after we share the same information for Canva, notebook. So now let's log in Gamma application for presentations. Okay, here in Gamma, we have the same library, multimedia resources, we have templates, we can explore, or we can create from zero, create new one from zero using AI. You can generate, you can create from copy and paste, that is what we are going to use from a template, or you can use from a bot. In my case, copy and paste because I have the information. I decided to copy the information from ChatGPT, and I am going to share that I want the same information from the text. What is a limitation from Canva? That I only have the access to 10 slides because in the free plan. Okay, so I am going to share only the 10 slides. As you can see the difference from the previous ChatGPT, Magic School, Canva era is in the design. It has a very interesting design. However, the limitation of the slides in the free version is interesting, but it is a good design. Okay, I am going to share. It's a really good presentation and totally different from the previous ones with a lack of slides that I need to pay. Eh, Finally, we are going to create with Gemini Notebook the same information, so we can have here access to an infographic and a presentation format beta. Okay. You are going to log in Gemini Notebook. You are going to put create new. You have to verify the language of the website. The same, I am going to put the text to copy paste the text that I have from ChatGPT. And then I am going to choose the bottom presentation and infographic. I can also have a video summary, an audio summary. But in Notebook, I have to wait more. I am going to choose presentation. Describe the presentation, what it has to take. The resource is in English. And I put generate. I can also have an infographic. that I am going to put in detail. I am going to share with an instruction. And then I am going to use scientific. Okay. And last but not least, we are going to create vocabulary flashcards. Where is the image? Okay. I'm going to put generate image. And I need to try to put a prompt. In this case, based on this text, we need to connect Adobe Express with Magic School. As you can see, it's not that I don't have internet connection. It's because it takes time to connect and log in with Adobe Express. you have to wait for the whole process. So you can have, in this case, the complete connection. So you have to wait also because Adobe Express is also quite hard and it requires time to connect. So it takes time. Now I have the information. I am going to download. It takes time. As you can see, it really took time. I am going to put to save to Magic School. That is also going to take time. It's because of the format itself for Adobe Express. So if you have the same situation, don't worry. Take your time because it takes time to save. Okay? As you could see, I am going to write with this format sample. And you are going to have the same vocabulary list generator creator for you. Okay? And here I have the image based on the prompt for ChatGPT to Magic School Adobe Express vocabulary generator. I can have the same, share publicly, connect, copy link, and done. Now I have the information for notebook element based on the same information that I have from ChatGPT to Magic School. And this is the information that I have. As you can see, it's more, in my personal opinion, I really love Notebook for more dynamic presentations. As you can see, it's really different. Okay. I'm going to put it again, and it's from the same topic. So you can analyze the variation that we have with the slides. Totally different, right? It is something different. And we also have the infographic. And this is the interesting infographic that I have. What am I missing? The image. To create your vocabulary flashcard in Book Creator. Okay. Then I only have to I am going to put vocabulary flashcard using Adobe Express from Magic School presentation to Book Creator. And that's it. So now it's your turn. And this is the image that I have. as the only image that I have, it's only one that I have to share. So now it's your turn. This is the microcurricular planning that I am going to share in the group. And what is your job? Your job is to adapt the information using the different websites to create the links for the presentations. You have here the complete microcurricular planning. The rubric assessment. So what is your job? Upload the file and create a high presentation using the prompts and information from the video in one, ChatGPT, second, Copilot, third, Gemini, fourth, Canva IA, using one presentation of the content, second, gamification format, escape room. Again, you have to share an interactive game. Which other app? Notebook, presentation beta, an infographic, 6 gamma, and 7 vocabulary verbs for the present perfect. Using 7 Magic School presentation generator and content generator. And number 7, I vocabulary verbs using Magic School image generator, image creator, plus Adobe and Book Creator. And you share the link in each one. One slide of 10, one presentation of 10 slides. Two links or the screenshots. And two links, okay? So now is your turn for your portfolio, and you are going to emphasize with present perfect or with the planning that you need from this. Upload the file of this Word document, topic present perfect, or any topic for your classes you want to try it out. And create presentations using prompts and information from the video. ChatGPT link, Copilot link, Gemini link, Canva, Notebook, Gamma of 10 slides because it's the free limited version. Magic School and vocabulary from Magic School. Image creator plus vocabulary list creator or generate. Okay. And you share the links for your portfolio. Portfolio day 3. Okay. The same, if you have any questions, you have to put in practice because remember that this also is practical case. You can also use the previous knowledge from, and you can also use the assessment rubric, you can extend. It's up to you. Okay, if you have any questions, please let me know.